Hello, I'm Simon Whistler, you're watching Today I Found Out, and in the video today we're answering a question. Is it possible to cash oversized novelty prize checks? If you're like me, you've probably found yourself at one point or another wondering, can you actually cash one of those giant novelty checks? Well, want to know more because the answer is that yes, you totally can, sort of. Though cashing a check is a relatively simple affair, the work on the back end is remarkably sophisticated and involves an amazing amount of automated technology and travel for the checks. With this in mind, it's clear why virtually all checks come in a fairly uniform size and design. It's just easier for everyone involved. But even with this uniformity, several million checks are sorted through by hand every single year, usually due to them being rejected by a machine for some reason or another. This costs banks money, so it is obviously something they are very, very keen to cut down on. However, strictly speaking, there is nothing stopping you from writing the relevant information needed to comprise a valid check on pretty much anything, such as a napkin, and then sending that to someone you owe money to, but also apparently hate. As Brian Black, one-time managing director of operations and technology at the Bank Administration Institute, notes, a check, has to contain certain features and it can be written on anything as long as it has the elements. The surface doesn't make a difference. A check is an order to pay someone, that's all it is. Basically, as long as whatever the check is printed on, giant or otherwise, contains everything necessary for it to be legally considered a check, this is the amount to be paid, the payer and the payee names, the account number, the name of the bank where the payer has the account and what state the bank is in, the payer's signature, and the date the check was written, it is a valid check. Again, as Brian states, the check is an order to pay someone, and it doesn't have to be printed on the pieces of paper that the bank gives you or you bought from them. It is simply a lot easier for the bank if they are written on these pieces of paper. All that being said, many banks have small print in their terms stating that they can reject any non-standard payments at their discretion. So while the giant novelty checks are otherwise valid to cash, those banks can, if they choose, reject them. So now the question in your mind might be, well, how do those people who get those giant novelty checks actually get the money? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint, but this is usually by really mundane means, such as a wire transfer, or as spokesman for I1 Online Sweepstakes Samantha Better states, the winners are given both the novelty check and a duplicate regular-sized check to be cashed instead. She goes on to say that most opt to keep their giant check as a souvenir rather than go through the hassle of actually cashing the thing. Alright, so what about if a bank does take such a non-standard check? Well, even if you did take your giant check to the bank and you find they have no problem with you cashing it, we were very disheartened to find out that they don't send it off in a hilariously giant envelope for processing. Rather, they will typically simply write all the relevant information down on some bank stationery and send that off for further processing. And now for a bonus fact. Upon receiving a junk mail check for a little over $95,000, one Patrick Coombs endorsed it with a smiley face and then cashed it. To his surprise, his bank accidentally honored it. Amazingly, because the bank failed to retract their error within 24 hours of the check bouncing, all $95,000 was legally his. Since the check wasn't valid though, it came out of the bank's pocket. When news of Patrick's hilarious feat of getting one over on his bank hit the news, some of the finest legal minds in banking joined in the argument on Patrick's side. Essentially, Patrick was home free and in full legal possession of $95,000 of the bank's money. Of course, this didn't stop the bank's head of security from threatening him, trying to get him to give the money back. But Patrick knew the law was on his side on this one and had fun with it, telling the security officer, "Give me a letter on official bank stationery stating that you are who you say you are, that you indeed work for the bank, and also put in that letter the reason why the bank is requesting the money back, as I'm a little confused on that. When I get that letter, we'll go from there." The security officer refused, apparently calling Coombs several choice names in the process. Despite the threats, which actually made him less inclined to give the money back, and that at the time he had about $45,000 in credit card debt, Patrick eventually decided to return the money. He had meant it as a joke, and he didn't actually want to take any money from anyone, not the bank or even the junk mailer who sent him the check. He didn't come off too badly over the thing, though. To this day, he's still riding the coattails of the story to make a living in his 75-minute Man 1 Bank Zero stage show. He was even once hired to perform the show at a major bankers conference. Presumably, this serves as something of a campfire horror story at banking executive retreats. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and don't forget to subscribe. Brand new videos just like this every day of the week. Also over there on the right, some videos from the archives. And as always, thank you for watching.